What up, motherfuckers? It's your boy, the hater up in this piece. And last night, something happened that I did not know was going to happen. I guess I knew about it. It's just that I forgot. You know what I mean? Because it's been a while since I've watched NXT. If I'm being honest, right? It's no secret that I think people like Adam Cole and Karion Kross are like honestly two of the worst wrestlers ever. So like, you know, I can't watch a show where like they're the two main guys. It's not possible. I literally would rather watch Cody Rhodes. I'm not even exaggerating. I'd rather watch Cody Rhodes than Karion Kross. So, you know, luckily I don't have to do that either because he's out filming some bullshit. It's either here or there. But last night was NXT 2.0, the NXT reboot, motherfuckers. The only thing I knew about it was that there was going to be a different logo, and the logo is complete and utter shit, you know? But it is what it is. The show I thought was amazing, so we're going to talk about that. And a little bit about the implications of NXT 2.0. You know, I know that it's somehow a popular theory, you know, that AEW is an inside job, that Vince McMahon really did it. Now, I mean, I don't want to insult anybody because I'm sure that some of my fans also believe that, but don't believe that. That doesn't make any sense. Anyone that knows anything about marketing, brand building, business, sports, entertainment knows that there's absolutely no reason why Vince McMahon would do that. First of all, why would all these people go along with it, right? Why the hell would, I don't know, what's his name, Tony Khan go along with it? Why would Tony Khan go along with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would he be like, the other billionaires are going to pretend we're starting a company for Vince? Why would they do that? You know what I'm saying? That's just so stupid. But anyways, it's either here nor there. But I know it's like this weird theory because it's like it's an extension of the whole Vince controls everything conspiracy, which is fucking odd too, by the way. Vince McMahon, like, as evidenced by NXT 2.0, if Vince McMahon wants to dip his toe into something else, he'll just go to NXT and make that shit better. You know what I'm saying? Why would he start another company under a different name? Why would anyone do that? It would make much more sense for Vince McMahon to be like, oh, okay, we're going to start a new show called WWE Dynamite, and we're going to hire these people. Why would they call it AEW? It's just like, who thinks of these things? You know what I'm saying? But the reason that I bring this up is because it connects to the reboot of NXT. It connects because a lot of people are seeing this as like NXT is rebooting because they quote-unquote lost the Wednesday Night Wars. Another reason. Why would Vince McMahon compete with his own self? Like, these are people that have never like taken like any classes in business or don't understand anything. Like, well, you never compete with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You never cannibalize yourself. Unless there are some extreme circumstances where you might. This is not one of them. You don't compete with yourself like in your like third-rated product. But anyways, the show actually was a reboot. You know, that's the one thing that I really liked. It really felt like a reboot. It felt like a new show. You know, the fact that it's still called NXT and that there's of course some overlap, like they still have some horseshit wrestlers they need to get rid of, obviously, but a lot of good things happen. A lot of good things happen in this episode of NXT. First up, the show starts. I didn't know this, but apparently Samoa Joe had relinquished his title after he destroyed Karion Kross's career. Samoa Joe, who like can't beat anybody on Raw, destroys Karion Kross, right? Who's this unstoppable monster, just so Karion Kross can now go and like wrestle Jeff Hardy and Damian Priest and get his ass kicked by them. You know, whatever, right? Samoa Joe relinquished the title, and we're gonna have a fatal four-way tonight between Tommaso Ciampa, Cuck O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, and LA Knight to determine the new champion. So out of these, I'm like, all right, it's going to be probably LA Knight or Tommaso Ciampa. You know what I'm saying? Just because, like, they are, like, the ones that honestly could be champions. Because on one hand, Ciampa is a guy that's been champion and people like him. And on the other hand, LA Knight is the only one of these three guys who is over 5'6". So, you know, that's also, like, a big deal. But anyways, I believe that these people represent the old NXT. Anyways, it was what it was. They all cut a little promo. And for some reason, the next match is LA Knight versus the debuting Braun Breaker. Now, this was really weird because LA Knight is in the main event. So why? Why is he debuting? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? It makes absolutely no sense for him to debut against Braun Breaker. So I didn't really pay attention to this match because I thought, okay, this Braun Breaker guy, right? He's badass looking. Like, he's a big, strong motherfucker. And he reminded me of Scott Steiner. So I quickly pieced it together, and this is Rick Steiner's son, right? I had to Google it afterwards to make sure, but I'm like, I know that guy's name was like Bronson something, and this guy's Braun Breaker, which is, in my opinion, a horrible name. Like, his last name is supposed to be Breaker. Braun Breaker? Come on, that's dumb. But I still assumed that LA Knight would win this match you know, because he's going to be in the main event. So it's like, how is he going to lose this match and then have any chance of becoming the champion? That makes no sense. The only way that would work would be like if LA Knight were to like lose this match and then win the main event, and then Braun Breaker, you know, is the #1 contender because like he just beat the champion, right? That's like, that would be a really fast way to fast track Braun Breaker. But I'm like, I don't know what plans they have for Braun Breaker. Long story short, Braun Breaker beats the shit out of this guy. It was amazing. You know, he did like a gorilla press power slam and pinned him. And I couldn't believe it because I'm like, all right, this move should be enough to win, because just like Braun Strowman, who did the power slam, this guy's big and strong. He's not as big and strong as what's it called, as Braun Strowman, but Braun Breaker really impressed me. You know, this guy, here's the thing. He is athletic, all right? He's strong, and he has a pedigree. And he's one of those guys, this is very rare, you know, like the last one I can think of is probably like Roman Reigns or Randy Orton. But everybody else has been like a lesser version of their father or whoever the fuck it is that's gonna like, even The Rock, honestly. Like, you look at The Rock when he debuted and you look at Rocky Johnson, and it's like a different story. Rocky Johnson's like 3 times his size, you know? Braun Breaker is one of the few guys where obviously he doesn't surpass Rick and Scott Steiner because he's not as big as them, but he is someone where like, it's like, even if he weren't the son of Rick Steiner and the nephew of Scott Steiner, he would get a job in WWE, you know? Whereas if you compare him to like Arn Anderson's son, Brock Anderson, this guy wouldn't get a job doing anything in AEW if it weren't for the fact that his father is who he is. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of like where we stand here. You know what I'm saying, motherfuckers? So I really like Braun Breaker. I'm not going to sit here and say Braun Breaker is like the next big thing, you know? As far as I'm concerned right now, he's just like a big, strong guy with muscles who has some potential just because, like, you know what I mean? He's just big and strong. And he is Scott Steiner's nephew, so I like him extra for that. But I don't know. The jury's still out on that. Next up, we had Imperium versus 2 guys named Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs. The match actually wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? It wasn't great, but long story short, Aichner jumps up the turnbuckle and hits like a butterfly suplex, like an overhead butterfly suplex. Now, as soon as he did it, I'm like, oh, this should get a 3 count because this is like an extreme version of the paradigm shift, which has turned into this move, basically, right? And it did get a 3 count, so that was kind of cool. But it wasn't anything crazy, you know? But it was a good match. It was a good little match there. Because it's a reboot, it gets a few more points. Because the implication to me is that Imperium is here to stay. You know what I'm saying? That Imperium is now going to stay here in, what's it called? In NXT, like normal NXT. I do, however, think that, like, Walter should come with them, and Walter should have been in this fatal 4-way, you know, for the new title, because Walter has been like the most dominant champion in all of WWE for like 2 years, so it's kind of weird that he wasn't there. But whatever, you know what I mean? Then we had B-Fab, the debut of B-Fab versus some luchadora. B-Fab beat her ass. The match was garbage. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. B-Fab, I mean, it was her first match, but it wasn't anything good, you know? It wasn't anything good. Like, she hit this like shitty neck breaker and won. I don't know. I like Hit Row because they have a gimmick, so that's kind of nice. But B-Fab did not do well here. Then Legado del Fantasma comes out with the new girl, Elektra Lopez, right? She looked like Carmen Sandiego. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It was what it was. And basically, they just had like a stare down. Nothing happened. Then, one of my favorite parts of the whole show, Carmelo Hayes came out, and he basically completely reinvented himself. This was really great. Carmelo Hayes was just this guy who was just a flippy jabron. You know, there was no difference between him and, let's say, I don't know, Cedric Alexander when he was a face, or Mustafa Ali when he was a face. No difference at all. But he came up, and he has backup now in the form of his new friend, Trick Williams, all right? Trick Williams is now my new favorite wrestler, motherfuckers. Trick Williams rules. Now, Trick Williams cut a promo, and the promo wasn't great, you know, but it got the point across. Trick Williams reminds me of like every character that Chris Tucker plays in every movie. Like, he's this like goof, you know? But just like Chris Tucker in a lot of his movies, he's a goof who can back it up. And his goofiness is kind of like what gets him to be underestimated. So that's kind of how I read Trick Williams. Trick Williams basically came out and he was like, yeah, we bowed about it, you know what I'm saying? And like, he was just saying things, and basically he was saying like, don't be so humble, Carmelo, right? But it came off like awkward because this guy just isn't good on the mic. You know what I mean? At least not yet. So I thought that was really good as a result. It came off authentic. It came off as like a dude. Like, if you remember when Magnus turned heel when he was in TNA, and what's his name, Bram came to like, you know, talk to him, and he was like, Magnus, don't be a bitch, right? And he's like, oh, Bram, what are you doing? And they're like supposed to be like friends from like childhood, you know? If this was like that, right, where it's like friends are sometimes gonna get awkward with each other, and they're gonna say things that like the other guy doesn't want to hear. So long story short, Trick, who I think that's like his entire gimmick, is gonna be that he's like, you know, this kind of like a goof, but a goof that can kick your ass. So basically, you know, it was really good. Duke Hudson came to the ring. He stared them down. He talked shit to Hayes, and then Trick Williams went in and attacked him. Trick Williams did this ridiculous kick. Like, it was so stupid. He just like did like 3 spins and then kicked him forward. It was dumb. And then they beat the shit out of Duke Hudson, which I really liked. I really like this dynamic, you know. Trick Williams, this is a good way to debut someone. More importantly, Carmelo Hayes is not just another jobber now, all right? He's a jobber with an entourage, right, number one. And 2, he has the little briefcase that gives him a title shot, which is almost like a Money in the Bank, I guess, right? But I don't think it works in the same way. So we'll see how it goes. Next up, we had a 6-man tag. Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter, and Sarai, who should not be here at all, versus Gigi Dolan, JC Jane, and the new and improved Mandy Rose, motherfucks. The match was not good. I did not enjoy it personally. Catanzaro and Carter, I think, won the first element, and then eventually, what's it called? Mandy Rose hit her little knee. You know, the knee is not a bad finishing move. She hit her knee on, I believe, Caden Carter, but I could be wrong, and won the match like that. Next up, we have one of my new favorite wrestlers, Ridge Holland. All right, it was him versus Drake Maverick. This was great, right? This is exactly what you want to see. You know, apparently, Drake Maverick is partnering with some guy named Grayson Waller recently, right? It didn't mean anything because what happened was Ridge Holland beat the shit out of Drake Maverick. It was amazing. It was exactly what a squash match should be. A big, strong guy destroying a little guy. He hit this finishing move, the Northern Lights driver. I think he calls it the Northern Grit. So he hit that. Ridge is fucking badass. I like Ridge. This guy's going places for sure. Next, we had another incredible moment. And as I'm reading the Bleacher Report thing to kind of, you know, get a refresher, because I watched this last night, I see how these motherfucks, these Bleacher Report fucks, everything they give, every score they give is like a C. You know, this is way better than AEW, and this is way better than Adam Cole. All right? Next up, we have the Creed Brothers versus 2 jobbers. The Creed Brothers are the newest members of the Diamond Mine. After Tyler Rust was proven to be a complete jobber that nobody wants to see ever, they fired his ass, right? And they brought in these 2 guys to be the tag team of what's it called? Of Diamond Mine, right? Diamond Mine, like, these guys are obviously the most interesting thing in Diamond Mine. These guys beat the shit out of the 2 jobbers. The big one was awesome. They had like a big one and like a still a big. They're both big, but one was like a big one, and the other one was like a skinnier one. The big one was awesome. He just threw these motherfucks left and right, tagged in the small one. The small one hit like this weird power slam type thing, and then he hit like a little clothesline to the seated opponent, which was great. And as Wade Barrett said, he's like, the unnecessary clothesline. The implications were that he could just pin the guy, but he wanted to hit him one more time really hard because that's how they roll, right? Then Malcolm Bivens talks about the Diamond Mine, which honestly is all going to be a bunch of failures, except for hopefully the Creed brothers, who are awesome. Some broad named Ivy Nile is there. Kushida comes out. It's going to be Kushida versus Roderick Strong next week, I guess. I expect Roderick Strong to win. Roderick Strong, I don't like him, but it is what it is. The Creed brothers are fucking awesome. They're just great, you know? Like, Bleacher Report here says they're clearly unrefined. Why? Because they're not doing spots with a boot with spikes on it? Get the fuck out of here. They are awesome. They are awesome. I love the Creed brothers. Next up, we had the championship match, but because What's-His-Face was attacked, Kyle O'Reilly was attacked, he's been replaced by a dude named Von Wagner. That's his full name, Von Wagner. Right? I like Von Wagner, motherfucks. Von Wagner, for a second, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. You know? He could win. Von Wagner could win, because this is a reboot. It would be an interesting way to debut, like, a new guy, just make him the champion off the jump, right? This was Von Wagner's, like, first match in any capacity, apparently, right? But I like the kid. He does look like Edge fucked Great Khali. He looks a little bit like a mix of Great Khali and Edge, but it is what it is. I thought Von Wagner was great. He hit an Olympic slam, and he's a big guy. So when he hits it, it looks badass, right? Because he's tall as shit. Eventually, what's it called? Ciampa, just, what's it called? Yeah. Wagner does, what's it called? He used to be called the honor roll when Chris, what's his name? Chris Nowinski did it. Like, basically, it's like a double underhook. He picks him up and he spins him and slams him. Not really a good-looking finisher. He does that on LA Knight. Ciampa comes in, knees that guy in the face, knees Von Wagner in the face, and then picks up LA Knight, hits a shitty-looking version of the fairy tale ending, and wins the match, becomes a new champion. I don't know. It was good, but it wasn't great, if I'm being honest. But it was good. It established a new champion, and Tommaso Ciampa is probably the right guy to have as champion because he represents the old NXT, and the new NXT should come in and beat his fucking ass. Next up, we had the wedding between, Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. All right, this was one of my favorite weddings of all time in wrestling for one reason. Number one, there was a lot of people there. This is something that's often forgotten about wrestling angles. It's just always like two people. But there were people there, like, in the actual audience, right? Number one. Two, Dexter Lumis stayed in character, which is what makes this entertaining, right? This is not entertaining because two people are getting married. It's entertaining because Indy Hartwell is marrying a crazy guy who has an axe on him at all times, apparently, right? And the main reason why I really liked this was because it actually went through. It's like the first wedding ever to actually go through without any problems. Every other wedding, some shit goes down. So this was a really good wedding. I enjoyed this a lot. And I want to see what happens with these motherfucks. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. I am hoping that Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis have their match. And then the Dexter Lumis eventually gets a title shot of some sort. Because Dexter Lumis, as I've said for many years, or not many years, but for a while now, Dexter Lumis is like my favorite guy in, in NXT, and also one of my favorite guys in WWE, along with Cameron Grimes. So I really want to see good things happen to this motherfucker. But I don't know. It is what it is. We'll see how it goes down. Now, I just want to say a couple of things before I leave you motherfuckers. So, NXT 2.0 was, in my opinion, a huge success. Now, there's a few reasons why it was a huge success. Reason one, the main reason why it was a huge success, was because we did not see Karion Kross. Now, when you see all the people that debuted today, literally all of them, in my opinion, are better than Karion Kross and Adam Cole. All of them are better. Trick Williams is better than both of those guys. The Creed brothers are better. Von Wagner, motherfuckers, is better. Right? Obviously, Braun Breaker is better. And even though I know Ridge Holland didn't debut, I consider him to be a new guy because he came back from injury. Ridge Holland is also better than both of those guys. So it's like now, even Duke Hudson, you may know him as Brendan Vink, motherfucks. So even all these guys are better than the people that left, which is obviously a good thing. The reason, I believe, why Vince McMahon wanted to, reboot NXT, I think is very clear. The format of old NXT, which is guy comes to NXT, becomes NXT champion, and then he goes to the main roster, and people expect something from him because he's the NXT champion, right? Is not working. You know what I mean? Like, you had people like Nakamura, Samoa Joe, next up Karion Kross. Like, they're not going to have actual careers. Like, WWE is wasting money on all three of them. Like, Nakamura, Karion Kross, and Samoa Joe have not drawn one dime their entire run. Maybe Nakamura for some Japanese fans. That's it, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So, Vince McMahon understands this, right? Because he's smart. He's smarter than Triple H. Triple H is an idiot. Triple H doesn't really understand wrestling. As a wrestler, Triple H was awesome, but as like a booker and as a guy who who makes decisions, he doesn't make any decisions. His entire decision-making process is, what are the neckbeards liking now? Oh, Kevin Owens, let's bring him here. Another guy who hasn't drawn a dime. Sami Zayn, even worse. You know what I mean? So Vince McMahon's like, all right, I gave you your shot. This show failed dramatically. You know, I'm not saying that they lost the Wednesday Night War, but they could have crushed AEW. If Vince McMahon was doing what he's doing now, they could have crushed him. You know, oh, Vince McMahon doesn't know what he's doing. I can't wait till he's dead so Triple H can take over. Shut up, nerd. Shut up, geek. Go watch AEW. That's like for that kind of fan. You know, if you want to see a debut every week and a guy who's 5'6" come out every week, go ahead. I'd rather see the Creed brothers destroy two jobbers. I'd rather see Rich Holland pick up a tiny man and hit him with a Northern Lights driver. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to see. I want to see motherfucks who are badasses beating the shit out of each other. Like, I think, for example, Braun Breaker is going to squash Tommaso Ciampa. Why? Because Braun Breaker is a big dude. He's big and strong, and Ciampa is not. And now that Triple H is not in charge, we're not going to see dumb shit like that anymore. Drake Maverick beating up Killian Dane. No. Now, I think what's going to happen is this. Tommaso Ciampa represents the old NXT, and Braun Breaker is skyrocketing himself as the new dude. And he's like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I think he's going to destroy him. You know? That's why Tommaso Ciampa was a good person to become champion, because, you know, quite honestly, he's had a shitty 2 years. Like, he's just been losing match after match. He's getting his ass beat by Johnny Gargano. He's getting his ass beat by Walter. You know what I mean? He's getting his ass beat by Timothy Thatcher. He's just getting his ass beat left and fucking right. So nobody wants to see this motherfucker anymore. Now, he also is like an NXT, the heart and soul of NXT. So Braun Breaker just destroying him would be good. Braun Breaker can just destroy him, and then Tommaso Ciampa can just walk away like he did when Karion Kross beat him. Think about what I just said, motherfucks. Think about what I just said. Remember when Karion Kross first debuted? His first big victory was against Tommaso Ciampa. You know what I mean? He beat Tommaso Ciampa, and Ciampa was like, what do I do now? Ciampa's back to being champion. What the fuck is Karion Kross gonna do? Nothing. Beat him, bro. So there you go. What I have to say about that is that Braun Breaker and these new guys are obviously better wrestlers, right? Even if they're new and don't have any moves yet, right? They're still better than Adam Cole. Adam Cole has like 3 moves. Like, I actually thought about this last night. I was watching, what's it called? The main event. And I'm like, Von Wagner, literally, I'm not even exaggerating. Von Wagner did more moves in this match, more unique moves in this match, than Karion Kross and Adam Cole combined in their entire career in NXT. Von Wagner's moveset is bigger than both movesets of these two jobbers. Right? Von Wagner is better in any capacity. First of all, there's absolutely no doubt that Von Wagner, the love child of Edge and Great Khali, would beat the shit out of both Karion Kross and Adam Cole easily if he wanted to. There's that, number 1. 2, Von Wagner has more moves and does them better. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it, cucks. Just Von Wagner encapsulates what's good about wrestling. And I understand the comedy here, because I'm not saying Von Wagner is the next Cena. In fact, I don't even think there's anything special about Von Wagner. But Von Wagner, to me, just highlights how bad the old NXT had been. You know, I honestly think I can pinpoint it to the debut of Nakamura and Sami Zayn. You know, like, those two guys really ruined everything. Nakamura came in with 3 moves. You know, Nakamura is the perfect example of good marketing. Nakamura is not a great wrestler by any means, but they just keep saying it. They're like, Nakamura is a great wrestler. Why is he a great wrestler? He does like essentially a shittier version of the cradle shock. He does like a suplex, the exploder suplex, the reverse exploder, and then he does a running knee. That's literally all he does. Right now, he incorporated the German suplex, and he has a variety of other like shitty looking kicks. That's it. That's his entire moveset. Motherfucker, Von Wagner did more moves. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Sami Zayn. 3 moves. 3 moves Sami. People are like, oh, the 5 moves of doom. John Cena has no other moves. What the fuck does Adam Cole do? Panama Sunrise? The Last Shot? The little brain buster? That's it. That's all he does in WWE. He has other moves. I've seen him do, like, for example, the Florida Keys. He has other moves. But his entire moveset is exactly that. Oh, the super kick, sorry. He's basically another young cuck. But anyways, I think the way things are going is good. What would you rather see, honestly? What would you rather see? The Creed brothers? Like, honestly, like, straight up. The Creed brothers or FTR? What is more entertaining? FTR working on a joint? Oh, they worked the joint, Taz. They worked the joint. Oh, look. Oh, they're meticulous. Oh, they remind me of the Brainbusters. Like, that, would you rather watch that? Or would you rather watch these 2 Kurt Angle motherfucks who come in with singlets, right? They're like from an amateur background, and they're just out there to torture people, right? They're kind of like Timothy Thatcher, except believable, and they do badass moves. Timothy Thatcher is more like an FTR guy. Oh, I'm going to grab his ankle and twist it. These guys are like, I'm going to grab you and throw you on your head, motherfucker. Sitting with Rich Holland, right? What makes these guys great? Let's assume that Von Wagner's finishing move is the angle slam. The angle slam is a badass move. The Northern Grit, also known as the Northern Lights driver, is a badass move, right? All the moves that the Creed brothers did are badass moves. Braun Breaker, he needs a new move. You know, not the Steiner recliner, but he needs maybe the Steiner screwdriver, something badass, right? The power slam, the gorilla press of the power slam is cool, but I don't know, he needs more in my opinion, right? But even the gorilla press into the power slam is way cooler than the Doomsday Saito suplex, or the running elbow to the back of the head, or the sleeper hold. Who wants to see that garbage? You know? Like, Karion Kross supposed to be this big, strong guy. He does a shitty-looking backdrop, basically because he can't lift the guy well enough. And now it's that Doomsday version. Shut the fuck up. You know? Braun Breaker lifts the guy up over his head and then drops him into a power slam. Von Wagner, motherfuckers. Von Wagner picks the guy up and slams him. Trick Williams looks like a guy that goes to the gym. You know what I'm saying? Trick Williams, along with Carmelo Hayes. You know, I know Carmelo Hayes similar to Cedric Alexander, similar to Mustafa Ali, but he looks like he goes to the gym way more than they do, right? He looks like he can kick your ass. You know what I mean? Same thing with Hit Row, except for the big fat guy that they have who doesn't do anything except for wave his arms around, right? It's very clear the kind of wrestler that I forget his name, but the main guy, the guy who was cruiserweight champion. It's fucking clear what kind of wrestler he is, right? Ashanti the Adonis, even though he's gonna have the sidekick role, is still jacked. Like, this guy's in good shape, motherfucks. So I believe Vince McMahon basically did this. Someone was like, what if we put Kyle O'Reilly in the main event? He probably thought, Von Wagner looks like he can beat the shit out of Kyle O'Reilly. Why don't we put Von Wagner in here? Which is actually a good point. That's what I liked about this episode, motherfucks. I like the fact that there was unpredictability. I talk about that all the time. First of all, you have the guy that's supposed to be in the main event get beaten in the opening match. Number one, motherfucks. Two, Kyle O'Reilly gets cucked out. Good. No one likes him. He's a jobber, right? He gets replaced with someone already better than him, even though he's never had a match, right? And this guy already better than him does all these cool moves. He does cool shit. Talk about Von Wagner, motherfucks. Von Wagner up in this bitch. So, why the hell should I be more enticed about Kyle O'Reilly than Von Wagner? Like, tomorrow, if someone's like, hey, Hayden, what kind of match do you want to see? Would you like to see Kushida versus Kyle O'Reilly? Or do you want to see Braun Breaker versus Von Wagner? I want to see Braun Breaker versus Von Wagner. Another thing, motherfuckers, debuts and newness, being new, have stock. It's important to be new. I like when wrestlers debut, personally. A lot of people do, you know? And that's why a lot of people, I think, confuse the whole, the wrestlers now on the decline with WWE didn't know how to use them. No, what happened was they debuted them, right? The guy sucked ass, it turned out, and he ended up on Raw losing to Damian Priest. That's what happened. Like, I've been very clear. Pretty much all my predictions this last year have been 100% true. You know? I said very clearly, Karion Kross is on the way to Jobber Town to have a Samoa Joe-like career. And that's exactly what's happening. Word for word what I fucking said. I said Damian Priest could become a star, right? He's getting a push. That's exactly what's happening because I can tell that Damian Priest is more interesting than Karion Kross just by looking at him. Just by looking at these two guys, you're like, all right, one's a jobber and one may not be a jobber, right? Cameron Grimes, motherfuckers. Cameron Grimes, the rise of Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes this year has been amazing. His gimmick shift has been amazing. His matches have been pretty good. Not fantastic, but pretty good. He won his feud with LA Knight, became the $1 Million champion, which is a career highlight for him, right? This guy's great. Cameron Grimes, baby. You know, to the moon. I love this guy. So there you go, motherfuckers. That being said, I'll leave you with that. I've been right about all these things, and I'll continue to be right. Braun Breaker, Creed Brothers, fucking, and last but not least, motherfuckers, Von Wagner and Trick Williams, motherfuckers. The future is here. NXT 2.0 kicks ass. NXT original formula is garbage, motherfuckers. Thank God we're done with that, punk bitch.